無 Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me is my good brother here in the temple, the man with the probing questions, good brother Nephenor.
The abductor of all abductees.
I'm pretty sure somebody tried to probe me once, then looked in my head and was like, nah, we don't want any of that, take him back.
Well, you do know the reason why aliens always go for the ass when it comes to probing, don't you?
Yeah?
Because with humans, your heads are up their ass, so it's the easiest way to get to the head.
Do I look like a Mastodon user to you? Don't answer that. But
No, their heads aren't up their asses. Their heads are much worse.
I think in that case, it's less of a head up ass and more of an Ouroboros. But we are back once again to continue our look at Tokyo Conception. And last time around, we covered the core mechanics and a bit of the combat. Which, I think the vibe we had was that it was good, but even though it has the option for grid combat, I don't see a whole lot of people using it.
Yeah, this one just seems too much theater of the mind for grid combat. I can see it being useful for figuring out things like line of sight, but other than that, that's about it.
And since the goal is trying to emulate the feel of the video game, having grid combat just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. And I know some people would be like, well, isn't grid combat the standard? Not necessarily in the Japanese end of things.
Hell, even in the Western end, it's not.
Mostly because, yes, the TTRPGs were descended from war games. Much in the same, but I use the analogy of how MMA was largely descended from the wrestling territories, especially of the 70s. In fact, UFC isn't too far removed from the territory days of the 70s, if you catch my drift. However, both of them have evolved to be so distinct from each other that that jumping from one to the other is not an easy task. And we all learned that the hard way in the early 2000s with the Inokiism stuff, where Antonio Inoki decided to have a bunch of his wrestlers compete in MMA.
That, and not all TTRPGs were descended from the wargaming scene. I mean, The one there's quite a few that started off as theater of the mind to begin with. The Call of Cthulhu, your entire storyteller series, those ones were always theater of the mind.
Yeah. The point is that grid combat is only the standard if you have 20-sided brain rot, and think that approach is normal. When in reality, it's kind of in the minority, because as TTRPGs grew and refined, alternative approaches started to take place, and the idea of fixating on the wargaming aspect started to become less and less a requirement. And right now, you have whole generations who got into TTRPGs who had never touched a wargame in their life.
Technically, I'm one of them. I've never touched any of the tabletop wargaming stuff at all.
I have dabbled with it.
Well, unless you count Blood Bowl, but I wouldn't exactly call that wargaming.
Blood Bowl is a board game.
And it's a fun one.
Yeah, a very customizable one. Although, I got myself in trouble because I said the video game Blood Bowls kind of played it too straight.
Depends on which one you're talking about. First one, yeah, you're right. Second one, they did a better job. Third one, haven't played it.
I haven't played Blood Bowl 3. From what I heard, it's not good.
That's exactly why I haven't played it.
But two is probably the better, because with one, the problem that I had was it was trying to emulate the board game, and I think what people wanted out of a Blood Bowl video game is akin to Blitz, just with Blood Bowl characters.
Well, they did a good job with the little story mode too. That was really good, playing on the characters.
Yeah, because the whole game is one giant piss take on the NFL, so why not go full circle and rip off an NFL arcade game?
Exactly.
Now, personally, I'm wondering if Norskins have their own version of hockey.
I want to see that.
It would probably be just like normal hockey, except
much more violent.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, I know. Well, you could also go. I mean, it could be as violent as the original lacrosse, which actually had people dying on the fields.
Yeah, and you have the same thing with that one variant of Italian football, where brawls are inevitable. But getting back on the rails, when it comes to negotiation, this is one of those big, as well as fusion. These are the two big elephants in the room when it comes to doing a Shin Megami Tensei TTRPG, because these have been key to the identity of the franchise, arguably since day one. Like, since going all the way back to the Megami Tensei games on the Famicom, there was some degree of negotiation. And when it came to fusion, that's been a thing since Shin Megami Tensei, the original Shin Megami Tensei, on the Super Famicom. So these are things that you have to have in a way where it's close to the source material, but not too close to the point of being incomprehensible. Since, consider this. Imagine if you did full customization with individual Pokemon in any generation of Pokemon, even Gen 1. You would have problems. Now imagine putting in a system where you can mix them and get whole new monsters. That is what we're dealing with fusion. There's a lot of back-end math when it comes to that in the video game that you can get away with because it's a video game. How you present that in a tabletop game without being overwhelming is the real challenge.
Fair. Of course, right now the only thing playing through my head is Grievous going, "Ah, yes, the negotiator."
Roger Smith's not even here.
Roger, Roger.
Anyway, so it goes into a bit on negotiation, then goes into the goal. Obviously, the goal of negotiating is to gain enough of their trust that they will give you their demon card, which allows you to summon them. Or sometimes you can get Maka or items from them. But then we get to talk skills. Skills specific to negotiation, talk skills, are divided into two types, approach and support. Approach talk skills are used to actually engage a demon in conversation. Support talk skills, meanwhile, are used to interject when someone else is negotiating with demons. Most support talk skills can only be used when certain conditions are met, such as the demon trying to leave the conversation. Also, support talk skills can only be used if you have not yet acted in a combat round, and only when it's not your turn. Once you've made your interjection with the support talk skill, you spent your action for that round. Talk skills don't require a check to use, but will prompt a negotiation check as part of their effect. You may not take a multi-action while negotiating, which is good because that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, that, unless kind of, they could actually get away with fast talking skill.
Whether the negotiation succeeds or not is determined by comparing the negotiation check to the negotiation table. Now, negotiation has three forms: approaching during a non-combat scene, approaching during combat, and gathering info. A non-combat, it's a talking basic action. We have a talk flowchart on the next page we'll get into in a bit. During combat, choosing the talk action when it's your turn, as we kind of mentioned, and gathering info. During research, negotiations are sometimes done more abstractly to allow for quick information gathering. At the start of a scene, a PC declares the general topic of their inquiry and then makes a negotiation check. Then, based on the outcome of that check, the scene plays out with the PC gathering that information.
I do like the way that they've got the support skill or support talk skills as kind of a interrupt system, so that they can come in and say, hey, he's really good at this or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, we do have interjection skills, which I already covered and are kind of a interrupt ability. As mentioned, if you can only use interjection when you haven't acted in that round yet.
And not on your turn, which is also an interesting choice.
Now, that being said, there are some situations where you can't negotiate, though a GM may overrule if need be. The reasons are as follows. The things that would stop a conversation are as follows. When Kagetsuchi is full, so when it's at the 8 phase.
I knew number 2 was going to be there, when the target is a boss.
Mm-hmm. When the target belongs to the Tyrant, Vile, Raptor, Wilder, Haunt, or Foul clan, and the live talk skill isn't used.
Jive talk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jive talk. I don't know why I saw that as L.
Don't worry. I speak jive. No, man, brother. Hey, whoa. Keep it down. Cool. Sorry, wrong jive talk.
Yeah. You have no idea how quoted that movie is in my temple.
I love that movie.
To the point where I would frequently open random doors and say, "I just wanted to tell you good luck. We're all counting on you." Then leave and then do it again 5 minutes later.
After the entire situation's been resolved.
Mm-hmm. But then continuing on, we have when the target is unable to act by an ailment, i.e. dead, stoned, shocked, frozen, restrained, sleeping, or panicked. When the PCs have 8 or more demon cards across the whole party, though there is an asterisk that the party may exceed the limit of 8 due to receiving demon cards from events or when demons initiate a sudden approach. And lastly, when the GM says so.
That should have been number 1, honestly.
Mm-hmm. There's also the fact that if you're talking to a demon that you already have the card for, then you can't do the negotiation. The demon will just leave with some comment to the effect of, "You better take care of my friend." That being said, you still make a negotiation check, and if successful, roll 1d10 to determine what gift you get. In the case of a critical, you roll twice.
I love the gifts there. The demon cheers you on. Woohoo! It'd be even funnier if the demon came out in a little cheerleader outfit and pom-poms.
Given how the Nekomata looks like it in SMT, I could see it.
It would certainly be amusing.
Be even more funny if it's one of the Jacks that does it. Then we have cheering on, HP recovery, getting Maka, getting item, or getting a gem.
Wow, it even goes down to what gem you can get.
Mm-hmm. Then we have the sudden approach, where a demon may end up approaching you and initiating conversation. And so long as it's a sudden approach, this negotiation can even happen when Kagetsuchi is full, or even if the demon is not typically capable of conversing. So that is a kind of workaround.
I can just imagine a demon coming up to you. Psst, hey buddy, you want to buy some Maka?
Oh. It'd be a bit redundant to buy money with money, but...
Well, no, he's looking to, get some gems or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But obviously the bonuses for Concentrate and Aid don't apply to negotiation checks, nor does multi-action. So... Then we have the concept of Impress and Offend. Certain approach...
Something which everyone should do when it comes to demons. Always impress and offend them at the same time.
Yep. Certain approach talk skills work better with some demons and repel others. The skill's Impress type shows which demons it works best on, and its Offend type shows which demons hate it. Whether you're impressing or offending the demon you wish to talk to depends on the approach talk skill you use, and that demon's behavioral patterns. And when a demon PC without an approach talk skill attempts to talk to another demon, they always count as doing so under offend type conditions. But this is where the talk flowchart comes in. Once a talk's initiated, the first thing to do is determine whether the approach is with the impress, normal, or offend type. This will determine how you start on the top, middle, or bottom row. Next, if the demon and PC both uphold a specific reason, determine whether or not they're the same. This will set which column you start in. So on the bottom of the page we have the talk flow chart. The top row is the impress type chart. The middle row is neither, and the bottom row is offend type. Then we have 3 columns. The reasons match, the reasons don't clash, and mutually opposed reasons. Obviously, the goal is to get to the you've got a deal. So you could kind of see this as a 3x3 board that determines where you start at.
I like the fact that you can still, in some of the situations, fail and still get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just taking a different route.
Yep. And going forward with that, once you have your initial position on the flowchart, negotiations start. The demon demands the offering, written in the demand field of the space you start on. If you meet the demand, make a negotiation check. If successful, move 1 space following the white arrow here. If you fail, move 1 space following the black arrow. If there is no black arrow, the talk breaks down, and what happens next is described in the break field of the space you're on. Lastly, should the check be a critical, move 2 spaces following the white arrows. If you, however, cannot or do not meet the demand, make a negotiation check. On a success or a critical, move 1 space following the black arrow. On a failure, the talk breaks. In either case, should you roll a fumble on the tech, the talk fails and the break becomes angry instead. When you arrive at the deal space, the talk is successful, and you acquire the demon's card or whatever request you had. Should neither a deal nor a break occur, then continue the negotiation, determining whether you meet the demon's demands, and then making your check. Keep doing this until you finally achieve a deal or break.
I gotta give them credit. That's definitely an intricate system to have a communication with.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking at this, I could see some people assuming that it would have the same problem as the hacker problem in a lot of Cyberpunk games. Of it being a lengthy duet. I don't see that as much of a problem here because you're only going to be making at most 3 checks, and it's still a D100 check. And your negotiation TN is always predetermined based on your stats anyways.
Not only that, honestly, when you're dealing with negotiations, that's not something that's a one and done in real life anyway. Usually that's a lot of give and take. Mm-hmm. So having multiple checks and balances on this one makes sense.
Yeah. That being said, I do think it'd be a good idea for both players and GMs to make a copy of the talk flowchart. So, at the very least for the GM. I think on the... Let me check the sheets PDF that came out recently. Because I want to...
honestly, instead of having a map for the where players are in combat, having a big giant map of the flowchart would be a lot more useful, because then players, you can see physically where you are on the chart.
Yeah, so the Sheets PDF that was an add-on does not have the does not have the negotiation chart. I know it would be tempting to put that negotiation chart on a GM screen. If I'm playing in person, I would not do that.
Yeah, I'd want that on a printed sheet that I could put down, that I could, put something on top of, say, all right, you're currently right here. This is where we're going.
Mm-hmm. And of course, after that, it goes into reading the flowchart. Now, if you use an approach skill, you do get a plus 20% bonus to the check.
And I like that if you get a critical, you move 2 white spaces. That's always nice, too.
Mm-hmm. So if demand was met, and then if negotiation check criticals, move 2 white spaces. If it succeeds, 1 space following the white arrows. If it fails, move 1 space following the black arrow. If no black arrow, you break. If it was not met and you succeed, move 1 space following the black arrow. If it fails, you break. And if it fumbles, you break and the demon becomes angry. And there are 5 potential outcomes. Deal. The demon fulfills their side of the bargain, giving you their demon card. Break. When a break occurs, the talks have failed. If this results in the last demon leaving the combat, then the combat ends. Gift. Roll once in the gift table and obtain that item, then the demon leaves. Leave. The demon leaves. Angry. The demon is angered. Until the demon acts again, it cannot be talked to again. Now, as far as demands, we have none, so no offerings. Maka, the demon demands an offering of Maka equal to 10 times the demon's level, plus 1d10 times 10. Item, roll 1d10 on the item demand table, then the demon demands said item. HP, demands an amount of HP equal to 10% of the demon's own max HP. Hello, Shiromia. We are right in the middle of talking about demon negotiation for Tokyo Conception. This damage cannot be reduced via any means, such as resistance or fate points. Of course, the potential items to be demanded are a life stone, a chakra drop, a revival bead, a bead, and at 10, a gem or any item the GM decides. And those of you who've done negotiation in either any of the SMT games or in Persona 5 know that just because you give them the item does not mean that you're winning that negotiation. Because sometimes they will take the item or take the Maka that they demand and said, "Ah, you sucker, you gave an item or you gave money to a demon. I'm not joining you."
Oh, no. See, this was just payment for me talking to you. I never said I'd actually give you anything.
Mm-hmm. Or question. The demon expresses their thoughts and then asks whether the PC will align themselves with the demon's reason. If the PC agrees, then they increase their endorsement points to the specified reason by 1. If not, their reason won't change, but they also won't be meeting the demon's demands. Then we have an optional rule for high-level demon demands. So that could be things like increasing the amount of Maka, or having them request something more expensive than what's on the item list. Double the Maka or HP, or roll twice on the item demand chart and take the more expensive item. Now, when it comes to support talk skill, the options you have are Haggle, used when the demand is Maka, make a negotiation check. If you succeed, half the amount demanded. Arbitration or Maiden's Plea, used when the talk breaks and would result in angry. Make a negotiation check. Success restarts the talk from the same space on the flowchart. I can see that being useful as a redo. Pain, used when the talk breaks and would result in a gift or leave. Make a negotiation check. Success restarts the talk from the same space on the flowchart. No gift is awarded. Connection, used when a negotiation check fails. This skill has no effect unless the user is of the same race as the demon. The user makes a negotiation check. Success means any break effect is negated, and instead the talking PC moves 1 space following the white arrows. Then
that's kind of a, hey, I know your cousin kind of thing, right?
Yep. Then we have flatter / intimidate / nag. Used when a negotiation check fails after meeting a demand. The user makes a negotiation check. Success makes the previous negotiation check count as a success as well. If this skills check fails, the talk breaks and the target is angry. If the target qualifies for the skill's impress type, then it can be used even when the demand wasn't met, and succeeding at this check moves the talking PC 1 space following the white arrow as though meeting the demand.
Okay, I just have to say, the fact that they actually have the skill as nag amuses the fuck out of me. I can just imagine the PCs going up, "Oh, come on, please, come on, just listen to me, come on!"
That door could swing both ways depending on the skills that a demon has.
I know, but it's just so funny, the fact that they actually put it in as nag.
And persuade. Once again, used when negotiation check fails. The user makes a negotiation check. Success makes the original check count as a success as well. If this check fails, there is no penalty. Has no effect if the demon target's traits include child.
So no persuading children. Got it.
Then we have the approach skills and demands. When you use an approach talk skill that demands Maka or items to start a negotiation, you make 1 negotiation check. This does not apply to Stone Hunt. Should the target match the skill's impress type, then the check's critical range goes up to 1/5 of the TN. Should it succeed, you gain the Maka and or items you would have received had you defeated the demon, and the demon leaves as well. Support talk skills can't be used to assist with these kind of approach skills. If the check is a critical hit, double the amount of Maka or items received. As for Stone Hunt, negotiate as normal using the negotiation table. If you can reach deal, roll twice in the Stone Hunt table below and get the item instead. So, either a bead, roll 1d10 on the random rock table, roll 1d10 on the random gem table, or roll 1d10 and get either an emerald, jade, pearl, or diamond. And the random rock table, these are for rocks that each are essentially spell items and are very powerful ones. Like one of them is Megiddo. Megiddo is almighty damage.
So unlike in some games, if you find a rock in this game, rocks are better than normal.
Yeah. Like, almighty damage is like the Joker card when it comes to... when it comes to affinities. It is also known as the fuck you button.
Always a good button.
Whereas a lot of these are high-level versions of elemental spells. Like Ma Zeo is basically Zeo on steroids, which is usually electric damage, and depending on the game, sometimes a chance to inflict stun, which is why Zeo spells were so broken in the original Shin Megami Tensei. You could just... there wasn't a rule against stun locking. So you could and it was really easy to inflict stuns, so you could just use Zeo on everything and they can't act.
Sounds perfectly legitimate to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's called creative use of game mechanics.
Mm-hmm. You know how it is if somebody abuses, say, Stunning Fist and keeps hitting that on the same guy every round, so they keep being unable to do anything?
And suddenly I see Keanu Reeves come up, go, "You're stunning."
Although in some of my tables, Stunning Fist was always interpreted as a hit below the belt.
Oh.
Or in one case, somebody found out a way to house rule using their feats with ranged attacks as long as they were thrown weapons, and he said, "You remember the big unit, that guy who made a pigeon explode?"
Oh yeah.
Now combine that with what happens when nut shots occur in baseball.
Vienna Boys Choir, here they come.
As somebody who briefly did catching, I've been on the wrong side of those. I know everybody says, well, just wear a stronger cup. It does not matter when you've got something that's going 80 miles an hour.
Not only that, the vibration alone is enough.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like how somebody can have broken ribs even if the bullet didn't penetrate while wearing armor. Motion transfer is a thing.
Yep, momentum has effect. And when you're dealing with that fast of a ball, hitting something, especially if it's going to be a cup, there's only so much of that force that can be transferred elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting transferred right to the area it is.
Yeah, there's whole compilations of catchers who've gotten it there, and you can hear the audible gasp from the crowd as they're just writhing like they're doing stop, drop, and roll. And I can't blame them, because yeah, you get hit there. There is nothing you can do.
I'm just still remembering that poor bird that got nailed with the pitch.
You know, PETA tried to sue him over that.
Well, PETA's a bunch of idiots, so I'm not surprised.
And I've seen that, and it was a case of the bird was already in the way by the time the ball was leaving his hand, so there was literally nothing he could have done.
Yeah, but damn, that poor bird certainly got a wake-up call, and then a lack of a wake-up.
I consider it to be a valuable lesson in trespassing, and it's a lesson that bird will remember for the rest of its life.
Exactly. All 2 seconds.
Yeah. But getting back on the rails, then we have information gathering, one of the other ways to utilize the negotiation skill. So, during research, negotiations sometimes occur more abstractly to allow for quick info gathering. At the start of a scene, a PC declares the general topic of their inquiry, and then makes a negotiation check. Then, based on the outcome of that check, the scene plays out with the PC gathering that info. During this scene, it's possible to use contacts and talk skills. So it has 4 steps. GM defines answers, PC declares, negotiation check, and then play out the scene.
And I can certainly see the support skills not being used here because you're not really going to be interjecting.
Yeah, and I have to clarify, it's avenues, not answers.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that.
So basically the avenues that you can pursue with the information you're looking for. Once the avenues are declared by the GM, the PC picks one of those methods to actually try and get info. Then the negotiation check is done. Fate points can be used for this. If you fumble, you don't proceed to the next step and cannot play out the scene to get info. The GM may wish to give them some other penalty as well. Then playing out the scene, which is self-explanatory, but they separate information into 3 types, and the GM should give the type of info appropriate to the degree of PC's success. So basic info, this is the stuff you will obtain regardless of whether or not you succeed or fail. Special info, which you get in a successful check. And extras, which you get on criticals. I do like this tiered thing. The only thing I probably would have added personally is some handful of examples to show where the line between basic, special, and extras is.
Yeah, examples are always a good thing, especially when it comes to something like this.
We always talk about guidance here in the temple, and this is no exception. I know somebody's inevitably going to romanticize it and gaslight me and saying, well, I trust that the GM and players can come up with that on their own. I'm like, yeah, they're going to come up with it on their own eventually, but throw them a fucking bone. Don't just throw them in the middle of the pool and say, swim, damn it. Or to use another example, that one coach from Dodgeball. You know, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
No. No, stop. I'm having nightmares from that again.
But then we have behaviors. And what this now, behaviors consist of 3 keywords: personality, gender, and age. Listed, and these are each going to be listed in the stat blocks separated by slashes. Several talk skills have their impress and offend types determined by a combination of these keywords. And the next few pages have a brief description of each of those 3 pillars. So getting into them individually would be kind of redundant. Although I do like that one of the personalities is Hee-Ho, specifically for Jack Frost and Jack O'Lantern. But they each have a bit of guidance as far as how one might roleplay that particular personality approach. Although it doesn't have that for gender and age, because I think that'd be redundant. And it's he-ho, not heave-ho. We're not dwarfs. I'm too tall for that.
We're both too tall for that.
Mm-hmm. But then we have fusion and evolution, and this, as mentioned earlier, is the real elephant in the room.
And it doesn't require you to do a dance beforehand either.
No, but you do have to go do it. You do have... Well, for the longest time, you had to go to the Cathedral of Shadows to do fusion. With Nocturne, because of the fact that you're in the Vortex world and not Tokyo, you have to do something different. Usually through the Amala network. But fusion is obviously fusing 2 demons. You gain a whole different demon. And there are multiple types of fusion. There's normal, cursed, sacrificial, and then rank up and rank down. Evolution is the process demons go through to become stronger. They will eventually change into a stronger form once certain conditions are met. Now, for
Don't give them a thunderstone.
Yeah. For demon PCs, fusion and evolution are their opportunity to gain the power-ups they wish to. Demon manifestation is another form of fusion wherein a demon or human can change into another demon. It's basically fusion, but using a human as one of the components. Now, the three forms of evolution are overseen by demon cards, the demon compendium, and the Cathedral of Shadows. So we are using the Cathedral of Shadows. It's been, in my defense, it's been a while since Nocturne, so bear with me. Now, the compendium is a tome which is said to contain every single demon that can be found. In context, it's the in-game monster manual. Sometimes the compendium is a literal book, sometimes it isn't, and it's basically tracking all of the ones that you know that you have access to.
A demon phone book, in other words.
Hmm. And while the original Demon Compendium was torn apart, and what was left were inferior copies, in the Vortex world, the original compendium, or fragments of it, can be discovered. And some believe that if all of those fragments are collected and the original Demon Compendium is restored, a new reason will arise within the Vortex world. Now, demon cards are thought to have been produced via some alchemical processes derived from the Demon Compendium or one of its fragments. Although referred to as a card, they are not necessarily literal cards. Instead, demon cards are composed of their thesis, the knowledge of them, the DNA of their soul itself in physical form. It would be no exaggeration to say that the card is the sealed essence of the demon itself. Memes, Jack. The DNA of the soul. Sorry, couldn't resist.
So, in other words, the demon's PhD.
Mm-hmm. At the Cathedral of Shadows, they claim that they can draw a demon's power from their card, use it to possess a human, or even by combining the theses of multiple demons, bring to life a brand new demon entirely.
Definitely sounds like modern research.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the early SMTs did use did have cards as the summoning motif, and even Persona 4 had it. Because when you're dealing with a franchise that's had so many games, it can't help but reference its past in some form.
Or reuse it in some cases, and you know what? That's fine. As long as it does it well, that's all that matters.
Yep. Now, then we have starter cards. Normally, when one obtains a demon card through negotiation, it is described in this rulebook as a starter. By using the fusion rules, the card may be improved, and the card may inherit skills from other demons. And that then mentioned is fusion, done in the Cathedral of Shadows. And of course, the new demon can be made into a card, and then human and demon PCs may manifest it with their bodies. Or a demon PC may choose to fuse with a demon card. In normal fusion, you use the normal fusion chart, which has a nice little hyperlink, I appreciate that, to find the clans of ingredient demons. The point at which the clan lines intersect will be the clan of the newly fused demon. Then, using the formula, levels of the ingredient demons, added together, divided by 2, then add 2. Find the level of the demon in the new clan closest to that number and no less. That will be the new demon created post-fusion. Should the fusion result be one of the exception demons listed below, they cannot be created through fusion. Instead, you may create an even higher level demon. Oops. So, exception. Some demons cannot be created through fusion or otherwise require special conditions to be created. When your fusion result is one of the following demons, ignore it and instead find the demon a rank higher. Or in the case of a rank down, use a rank lower, and it'll be your fusion instead. And the exception demons are pretty high level entries.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the games that much, but I do recognize a good portion of the names from mythology. And holy fuck, some of those are big names.
Hmm. Um, Amaterasu, Shiva, Parvati, Kukulain. I'm probably the first person to pronounce it right in a while because everybody mispronounces it.
I see all four archangels in there:
Hmm.
Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Garuda, that's another one. Albion.
Hmm. Yeah. But then we have skill inheritance.
Oh
Because
god, I didn't even notice Queen Mab was in there too. Holy fuck, that's a big name.
Mhm. But the demon you gain after fusion may inherit skills from the demons used for its ingredients. The number of skills inherited depends on how many skills in total the ingredient demons had gained before fusion. The player performing the fusion may select which skills are inherited, however, some skills may have an inheritance type to them, and if so, the demon created via fusion cannot learn those skills unless it has the right inheritance traits. The inheritance traits are mouth, eye, lunge, bite, claw, and weapon. Also, no matter how many skills the newly fused demon may inherit, it may not learn more than 8 skills in total, including its initial skills. Initial skills cannot be removed in favor of adding more inherited skills. And then we have a nice little chart going into the total skills prior to fusion and the number inherited. So from 1 to 3, you get 1, 4 to 7, 2, and it goes up in a rule of 3 from there. So when doing fusion, you're not going to be able to bring everything. You've got to pick and choose. But
That's fair. You don't want to make it so that they get too powerful.
Mm-hmm. Or have too many skills, especially since fusion is something you're going to be doing multiple times over the course of a campaign. But then we have sacrificial fusion, which can only be performed when Kagetsuchi is full. In addition to the demons used in normal fusion, one more is chosen as a sacrifice and added to the fusion. In a sacrificial fusion, one level of the newly fused demon will be whichever is higher, or the level will be whichever is higher, the level it would have been without a sacrifice, or the sacrificial demon's level. Moreover, the sacrificial demon's skill amount is added to the total number of skills when determining the number of inherited skills. When a demon's level would increase through sacrificial fusion, be certain to increase its stats per level as per advancement rules. It does not obtain any new skills due to this, so that rule of 10 when it comes to skills doesn't apply. Also, should the difference in levels be 10 or more, instead of doing each level manually, do the following per 10 levels of difference. +1 to all stats, +3 to favorite stat, +2 to one stat, or +1 to 2 stats of your choice. Nice way to expedite the process there.
Yeah, keep it nice and simple. That's always a good thing for your GMs.
Mm-hmm. Sacrificial fusion in the other SMT game covering Devil City Tokyo was triple fusion there. And then we have same clan fusion. When two demons of the same clan are fused, then the resulting demon will be a specific element clan demon with no regard for levels. It will still inherit skills as normal. Through sacrificial fusion, a particularly high-level element demon can be created. And a specific element is born when two demons of the same clan are fused. So when Holy and Seraph are fused, we get Flameless, for example. And same with Aquans, when you have 2 of Yoma, 2 of Snake, or 2 of Femme. With Eros, 2 of Fairy, Divine, Beast, or Wilder. And with Erthis, 2 of Knight, Fallen, Jirai, or Brute. And then we have the rank up and rank down fusion. When fusing an element demon with any non-element demon, the resulting demon is of the same clan as the non-element demon, but 1 rank higher or lower. Whether it's higher or lower depends on the element and the clan of the other demon. Refer to the rank up, rank down table right below. We'll get to that in a minute. Rank up in this case means to take the non-element demon fused and find the demon that is closest to it in level within the same clan but higher. Rank down means to find one lower in level. When performing fusion while cursed, rank up and rank down become reversed. A fusion combination that would normally result in rank up results in a rank down, and a combination that would normally result in a rank down results in a rank up. And then we have the rank up and down table. So if you're choosing one of the 4 elemental types, as mentioned before, and one of the different clans as the other part of the fusion, we get what the result is, rank up or rank down. And then, once again, I have to do a bit of messing about and rotating so everybody can see this. So this is the normal fusion chart. And it determines the clan that you get when you fuse 2. Though with some of them, you're not going to get anything out of it. And then I have to rotate it again. Then we have...
Yeah, you got to do a complete 180 to continue on, which is kind of silly in terms of printing.
But I understand why. And some people have converted this onto a spreadsheet.
That would be the best place for it.
Mm-hmm. But now let me rotate it again. And then get back to 2-page. So with cursed fusion, which we kind of saw with that chart, when one is cursed, their aura of misfortune has a great effect on demon fusion. Should even one member of the party be cursed when someone attempts fusion, they use the cursed fusion table instead of the normal one. And we also have Mitama fusion. Mitama is a special kind of demon that enhances traits, akin to a Magatama for demon PCs. Or for fiends, as we saw in part 1. One can acquire a Mitama by trading gems at Rag's Jewelry, or by creating one through the fusion of 2 Element Clan demons. Unfortunately, a Mitama's demon card cannot be reproduced through the Demon Compendium. When a Mitama is fused with another demon, the following changes occur to the demon's stats, regardless of their level or clan. +2 to any stats according to the Mitama type. You may inherit 1 skill the Mitama possesses, your choice, and -1 to the demon's maximum fate points. Mitama cannot be used in sacrificial fusion. Then right after that we have the combinations for Mitama, as well as the stat increases for each individual one. Most of them are going to be +2 to 2 stats. And lastly of fusion, we have special fusion, which is cases of ones that you can only get through specific combinations of demons. When those combinations are used in fusion, you ignore whatever the result would normally be and instead receive the special fused demon. Though with a few of them, there is an asterisk, saying for these fusions, a 3rd demon is selected, like in sacrificial fusion, but the final demon does not inherit the sacrificed demon's level. This is a combo that could, therefore, be called a triple fusion. Though, as you can see, special fusions are very high level demons. So
yeah, throwing 3 archangels together to get the 4th.
Mm-hmm. Or using to get the sun goddess using Yadagarasu, Taka Mikazuchi, and Ame no Uzume.
Yeah, that's throwing quite a bit of power together, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then we get to evolution. Some demons may evolve into different demons when they reach a certain level. Depending on the demon, which demon they may evolve into may already be specified. Once the party level reaches the indicated level, a demon PC who has manifested such a demon may choose whether or not to evolve once they level up. If they decide to evolve, then their stats change to those of the evolution target of the demon they were manifesting. When evolving, a demon's skills are reset to those of their target evolution. However, the demon may inherit 2 of the skills from the demon they were before evolution as extra skills. We also have a thing on level regression. Rarely there may be a time when, upon evolving, the target evolution's level is lower than that of the previous state. When this happens, change the demon's level to be what it was prior and advance them as per the normal level up rules. For example, if a level 12 pixie evolves into a high pixie, which is level 10, then they advance to level 12 immediately. It's a nice little save there.
Yeah, you don't want to end up with someone lower.
Mm-hmm. And I do remember when I was playing Gen 1 Pokemon, and the strategy guide that I had brought up the question of the benefits of choosing not to evolve. Because even in Gen 1 Pokemon and in SMT, there are benefits to not evolving, namely what sort of skills you want to acquire.
Yep, and then of course there's the whole, hey, look, it's Pikachu who never evolves.
And I see Hydra in the chat saying, so like some games it's possible to have demons with no weaknesses? No. Not with, or at the very least, it's not going to be very easy to do that. There's going to be some kind of weakness, or best case scenario, you're going to have one where you don't have a strength or weakness. You're just complete neutral. But because of the way affinity works, that's going to be very, very rare when it comes to demon PCs and, well, demons. Now, then we have demon manifestation. This is basically the summoning process using the Cathedral of Shadows. Then of course, the other. Actually, let me clarify. This is where we get to that whole thing of using a human as fusion material. You know, summoning a demon, then having it possess a human or demon PC. Humans who are possessing a demon this way will thereafter be a demon PC with no way to return to being a human. For demon PCs that receive the summoned demon, however, they become that demon. In either case, the demon card that was used for the summoning is lost. As a general rule, no demon may be manifested that is a level higher than the party level. And of course, when manifesting a demon, there's a few steps to change. One is changing your level. The PC's level becomes whatever the starting level is for that demon. When your level changes, set your XP amount to be as though you had reached that level, no more, no less. 2, change your stats. Your stats after manifestation are the stats of the demon you manifested. Any stats a demon PC had prior are lost. And 3, skill inheritance. Demon PCs gain the initial skills of their manifested demon. In addition, you may inherit some of these skills you had before manifestation. The amount that you may inherit is equal to the demon PC's level divided by 10 plus 1. And the player may choose freely from among their old skills. Remember the cap of 8. Initial skills may not be discarded to increase the number of inherited skills. However, should a skill have an inheritance type, then unless the demon you are manifesting into has that same inheritance type, it may not inherit that skill. And then we have special skills. Some demon-specific skills cannot be inherited unless, after fusion, the demon is the same type of demon, except for Mitama. For example, Maiden's Plea may only be inherited after fusion by a female demon that does not have the granny or witch behavior. Likewise, the Wing Buffet skill cannot be inherited unless the demon post-fusion has wings or feathers. And it says check the demon's illustration. And finally, recalculate values. Following the change to stats and skills, recalculate all values, such as TNs and base power. And we have a final thing called recording in the compendium. The Minister of the Cathedral of Shadows claims the demon compendium there is the original, though the veracity of this has yet to be confirmed. Regardless, you can record demons within it. Once a demon is recorded, you may, for a small fee, have its demon card reconstructed for you with all the same stats as when it was recorded. The reconstructed card may be purchased once per type of demon per full revolution of Kagatsuchi. Once a demon card is purchased, it may not be purchased again until Kagatsuchi is new once again. Should a new record of the same type of demon be made, it has no bearing on whether or not the card may be purchased again. A demon's record contains its level, stats, and skills. Anything else will be the base form of the demon. This means that things like EXP or other added items are not recorded. Thank God, that would be a nightmare in tabletop. Also, the compendium only utilizes the most recently recorded information of a single type of demon. All old data is expunged, so be mindful when re-entering a demon into the record. All records within the demon compendium are done on the condition of having a demon's card. You may not record demons you may not record demons that you have manifested. And as far as the price, it is equal to the demon's level times 100 in Maka or the demon's level cubed, whichever is higher. This fee must be paid to the Cathedral of Shadows in full before the card may be obtained.
So in a way, this is almost like a quick save for the demon itself.
Pretty much. This is another major staple, and even the Persona games have the compendium as a way to call back previous Personas that you don't have anymore, if you want to use them for future fusions. And since the Persona games before 3 came along were not that far removed from core SMT, they have the concept as well. Because Persona 3 was a kind of soft reboot for the franchise. In terms of defining the direction to what it's been since. And the funny thing is, and those who are more familiar will know, it's called Persona 3, but it's technically the 4th Persona game because there were 2 Persona 2 games. It's like a lot of things with SMT, it's complicated.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
Yeah. Now they do give an example of fusion with Mr. Hiho. And after that we have cooldown. So the end of session thing, handing out XP and the like. So for each PC that participated, the scenario XP is equal to party level times 10. Any PC who has enough XP to level up does so here. Then character evaluations. This is where you review to see how people have played to their particular alignments. The GM will pass a review sheet to each player. You should fill in your name and the character's name up first. Then pass the sheet clockwise. Once you have a new sheet, write down your impressions, any thoughts you have, and your assessment of the character's alignment. Once everyone is done, pass the sheets around clockwise again and repeat until you're holding your sheet again. Then this step is complete. This would be tricky to do in a virtual tabletop.
Yeah, I could see that, although I'm sure somebody will come up with a solution for that if they haven't already.
Mm-hmm. Then we have the alignment part. So you just... Hold on. Over-scrolled. Basically, how someone played to their alignment.
I do appreciate the alignments. This is one of the things I like about this.
Mm-hmm. Once it's done, the GM collects them all. They determine the alignment most often given for each character and roll 1d10. The character gains that many points towards that alignment. If they have points towards other alignments, those each reduce by 1 point. Afterward, the character is the alignment they have the most points in. But it's noted that they are, much like reasons, meant to work as flavor to enhance the story. And after that is the actual cooldown part of cooldown. No, dealing with level up, and it's mentioned why it's called cooldown. And this includes going into what you're getting upon leveling up. And the possible skills, powering up the skills, and changing skills. Which you can do if your affinity changes as well. And right after that, we have the gift table for that and random affinity, as well as if Magatama Rampage, which is which when it comes to that, if you're over leveled with your particular Magatama, sometimes it will go out of control and you end up getting certain benefits. This is done with a D10 based on what Magatama you have in you. And obviously that's for fiends only.
I'm saying a whole lot of you become cursed.
Well, given what a fiend is that really too much of a surprise? Magatamas are basically really symbiotes. But
and then of course there's the Satan one. Cursed, stunned, poisoned. You got a lot. Or you can actually get hit points and mana points back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the last one is the power-up / change table. So with these kind of things, the baseline of advancement is linear, but there's a lot of sidestepping that can happen as you develop. I understand why the baseline is linear, because otherwise the fusion part would be an absolute nightmare. But with that said, what is your takeaway from how negotiation and fusion work in this system?
I like the negotiation. It actually feels a lot more like an actual negotiation rather than what some games do, which is just a simple one-off roll and then it's one and done. It's like, no, it's more an active give and take, which definitely feels more like negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, honestly, in some ways, I probably want to adapt some of this to other games that I play just to make the whole concept a little more fluid and dynamic rather than just simple rolls. As for the whole power up and fusion, I think I'd have to know the game a lot more to really make a judgment on that.
Yeah, I knew fusion was not going to be something that you could do simply. I would say what we've got out of this is as simple as we could get it.
And that's saying something.
When you consider all the moving parts that you have to deal with when it comes to the way fusion's going to work, I could see it. Somebody did homebrew the sword fusion concept that was in early Mega 10. Because they felt that human characters weren't getting enough stuff compared to the other archetypes. Sword fusion is basically what it sounds like. You're fusing a demon with a sword to boost the effects of that sword.
Like we haven't seen that before.
Mm-hmm. It was mainly as a counterbalance because in a lot of the early Mega 10s, the protagonist couldn't use magic.
Yeah, I mean, that and the concept that humans are more about what they carry rather than what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that kind of concept. I mean, after all, we've got an entire series of books, Elric.
Yeah.
A man running around with a demon in a sword form, so why not?
Yeah, and of course... so there's been... Of course, when it comes to the whole magic sword thing, Sword World is always going to come to mind with that. But
yes, we can't forget that world.
mhm.
That was so much fun.
But now, normally I would say that next week we're going to be going into skills. But the 3-in-1 rule that I have when it comes to Valley of the Judge is going to apply next week.
Oh?
So for a bit of context, after every 3 episodes of a normal season, we do a one-off. This is usually a one-shot affair or something that is a lighter affair. Sort of like what we did with City of Mist. Also, there's of course the rule of doing the one-offs in between seasons.
So what do you got up for next week?
For next week is a humorous affair from the world of Powered by the Apocalypse, called "This World Summons Too Many Heroes."
I like it already.
And yes, it is one giant shitpost of the isekai genre, because unlike some of my compatriots when it comes to anime, I don't hate isekai. I know some find it overexposed, but the same could be said for a boatload of other genres.
Hey, I happen to love some of it, especially ones like Konosuba, which is just downright hilarious.
And there is a Konosuba TTRPG that was made in Japan. I did end up calling out the Twitter account of one of Katakawa's branches because they said it was the first Japanese TTRPG to be translated into English. It wasn't.
They might have meant officially, but even then, that's still not.
They might have meant officially, but Maid came out in 2008.
Like I said, even then, it's still not.
Yeah. Maid came, and as far as with if no matter what kind of weasel word somebody wants to use with that, it doesn't apply. But that'll be upcoming right after we've more or less recovered from Holiday Hell. And only have to deal
first part of Holiday Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Second part of Holiday Hell comes after the first.
Yeah, International Hangover Day. But that is a story for next week. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
装え上洛が上長年関税を忘年関税を